Okay, so here we have Al in the garden in July. I think it's the 12th. And what's happening, Al?
Well, this is this I believe is the second video this summer. The first one was in June, right, Chris?
Yes.
And if you watch the one in June, you can see the progression of the plants. Back in June, you were looking at summer squash without flowers, and stems and leaves are maybe only 10 inches tall. So as you can see here, it's harvest time on the squash. And I'll cut a nice one off here. Okay, here it is. Zoom in here with your camera so you can see it. Okay, we're going to gently cut it so we don't damage any of the stems. And there's our first summer squash. We'll probably saute it in olive oil or a little butter. And as you can see, each plant now has one squash. Within a couple of weeks, they're going to get very thick. And we'll be getting off of this short row here, about 50 foot a row, you'll be getting at least a bushel a week. Okay?
So here we have a little bit of garlic, and then over here we have corn.
Here's the sweet corn. Here's my knee. It hit knee high probably about 5 days ago. 10 days short of the normal July 4th knee high. A little cooler summer. So the corn growth is behind somewhat. Here's your beans, bush beans. As you can see, they're starting to flower. So we'll get bean formation probably here in about another 4 or 5 days. And this plant will get about that tall, and it'll be full of beans, hopefully. Here's your acorn squash. The runners started about a week ago. As you can see, here's the main plant root system, and here's your runners where the squash will form. Now these little surface roots will attach to the ground, so once this runner gets established, you don't want to pull it up, because these will pull water, which the plant needs. They need a lot of water, and these little surface roots will do that. Here's one here too that we broke off. Okay. There's no squash yet. They'd probably be forming in another few days. The basil, what we discovered this year is you do not want to overwater basil. Probably a little best left on the drier side. And although it does like to be weeded nice, keep the weeds out of the garden. If you got weeds, you got a poor garden. Carrots, bumper carrot crop this year. As you can see, the carrots are slightly hilled. So this would be about normal level, so we brought it up maybe about 1.5 inches. That keeps the top of the carrot from turning green, and you get a longer carrot, longer shaft. And carrots need a lot of water. If they don't get enough water, you'll see white hair roots on the main bulb. These are late tomatoes. We had some little tiny plants at the end of the greenhouse, so we thought we'd put them in and see what happens. Beets are looking real nice. The same with the carrots. You want to hill your beets, and you want to keep them absolutely weed free. Every weed along that beet or carrot is going to reduce your crop. So at least once a week you should go through and completely weed. This is spinach, which was harvested about a month ago. And we're leaving this continue to grow to get seeds for next year. Okay. Here's your kohlrabi. This is your standard kohlrabi. Heads are starting to form about a week ago. So these will be harvestable maybe next week. They're kind of slow growing. You'd think they grow a little quicker. Here we got our peas. Bumper crop this year due to the cool weather. We had a cool summer, cool spring, cool summer, and they're absolutely covered with peas. So we'll open one up and see how big they're getting. We'll be harvesting these probably next week. Okay. If you notice, there's 2 rows of peas. One on each side of this 2.5-foot fence. These here are garden hose protectors. So when the hose hits it, it'll slide. Build some, they work great. I had some extra plant protectors that I would just cut these one piece. These are 3 pieces. I just utilized what I had left. Crisp mint, romaine, lettuce, little gem lettuce.
This is the 3rd planting. 4th, what plant?
This would be the 3rd.
Okay.
Here's the original crop. We harvested about 130 heads already. And these are at full maturity now. The hearts are well formed inside. So we're going to have to try and get rid of these somehow. Tomatoes, big beefs, little longer growing season. They're bush beef steaks. We're not going to stake them this year. We're going to let them grow on the ground. I may add a little bit of maple leaves. Here's your cucumbers. As you can see here, here's our first cucumber of the season. You see it there, Chris? So that cucumber, the end of a week from now, will be probably ready for the table. They grow really quick. This is a fresh bed I just started about 6 days ago with more radishes and more lettuce. So we got 5 rows. Every other row is radish. These are the radishes. This is the 3rd crop here already. These are French breakfast, probably the best radish to grow. They're fairly large, they grow easily, and they're usually very, very juicy and tender. More kohlrabi. This is cabbage. Here you may want to take a look at this, at the grapes. Nice big bunches in there. Now they're full of grapes. Nice big clusters. That cluster will probably get about 10 times that size in the next month and a half. These here are put in here to keep the birds out from eating the grapes. Got the flowers scattered throughout the garden to help with pollination on the tomatoes and some of the other things, mainly tomatoes, peppers. cabbage. The cabbage heads are forming, as you can see here. This one here is probably almost ready to eat. They're starting to harden up. You'll get about 3 to 4 times that size. Tomatoes. Getting some nice tomatoes here. This is a small mid-sized tomato, and they'll get slightly larger than that. And these will probably go red in another 10 days. Here's the unlucky pepper plants that got hit with frost back in about the 10th of June. Cauliflower. Fairly long crop. We won't see cauliflower for another month. The plants look nice and healthy. Celery. These celery plants, when we put them in here, they're about that tall. Now they're over a foot. And tried something new this year. I put black mulch down over about a 2-inch bed of leaves. Keeps the weed production down, and each plant has its own weed-free hole. The garlic bed, the main garlic bed. Chris cut scapes about a week ago, and she made pesto with it. Left a few on so we can tell when the rest of them are done. When that scape turns straight up, then the bulb is fully mature. So they probably got another 10 days to go yet.
Okay, and that's the garden tour for now. We'll see you next time.
Yo.
Enjoy the veggies.